Don't cry over spilt milk. While we can all agree there's no use stressing out over things that have already happened, there's no shame in literally crying over spilt milk. Cheese, sour cream, yogurt, and ice cream. What do all of these everyday food items have in common? Dairy. In New York State alone, there are almost 4,000 dairy farms, producing about 15 billion pounds of milk annually, with about 80,000 dairy farm workers deriving from many parts of the world. All this information led us to a question. Why should this matter to us? To find this out, we went to 2 local dairy farms. First stop, Bubbins. I am the manager of the calves and cows of my boss's 4 farms. Checking the protocols and processes and staying within the regulations is a struggle sometimes. Well, the dairy I don't worry about because I know the process as well. Other things, yeah. Well, this person interested in my line of work needs to be constant and observant to even the smallest of details, because without the cows being healthy, you do not have a farm. Well, isn't that interesting? To learn more, we went over to the Adden farm.
My line of work is everything that has to do with animal and health development. Managing people. Yeah, by far the hardest thing ever. Yeah, actually there's a lot of rules and regulations that mark the things that we could do to cows. We can't be too aggressive with them. You have certain, so just an example, back in the days they used to do tail ducking. They used to remove part of the tail because of hygiene, avoid mastitis, and there's certain boundaries that you need to respect or you could get in trouble and have fines. It's a lot of work, very challenging. Health, you manage reproduction, you manage feed, and those things are designed by standards. So you have a specific line where you want to keep those protocols, and you don't want to drop anything lower than that, otherwise you'll get in trouble. The struggle of a dairy, I believe, is in the number of people that you have to work on a dairy. The turnover is ridiculous. Like, it's hard work. You get up very early in the morning, you stay here very late in the afternoon or night, and it has conflict with your families too, right? Your family said, hey, you're never home, you need to be here, what's going on, and I don't want to do this anymore. And you have 2 choices. You do the family thing or you find another job, like, basically. So the farms work well when you have the right people and the skills, because it's not just to come and I'm here, I'm going to do everything. No, you have to know exactly what you're doing. You have to be prepared to do it. And yeah, like I said, I do believe most of these farms are, doing a great job with their protocols. So. Yeah, if you want to farm, you better think about it twice. Okay. Yeah, it's, sometimes we come in at midnight and we're still here till 5, 6 in the afternoon. So it's just, yeah. If you love it, you could do it. If you're not into it for love or because you really like it, you're not gonna last very long. It's gonna beat you to the ground. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah.
Turns out dairy products don't just magically appear in the dairy aisles. We had no idea how much hard work and resources were put into our dairy products. To dig deeper in the resources put into our dairy/food products, we contacted a Clarkson student who was working with food waste.
Hey, what is your name?
My name is Maeva. I am here doing a master's at Clarkson University. My major is environmental and sanitary engineering, actually. course. So we've been doing like audits in commercial business, for example, like restaurants, grocery stores, universities. And then we started realizing, because we have like actually you have a new law from the New York State that says that if you generate more than 2 tons of food waste per week, you're considered a large crime generator. And then it was effective in January 2022. So like last year it started like being effective for like all the commercial business that generate more than 2 tons. But what happens that New York State have like factors. So they basically say like, oh, if you multiply this factor of like pounds per meals, for example, and multiply by the number of meals, we have the extrapolation of like how much an university generates with food waste. But as we were like doing the audits, we realized that universities like generates more than, actually it's like, how can I say, it's more complex. It's like, it's not only like a factor and multiply by meals. So based on that first chapter of the project, this year we started like last year from fall 2022 for spring 2023, we started like more audits in 5 universities in New York State. Mm-hmm. So we are trying to understand like exactly how much food waste universities generate in New York State, and try to make like a toolkit to have a better understanding for for other universities. So we will be able like to classify basically the universities on like for example, with the number of students that they have, with the with the number of students they have, with like how many meals they have, how many students live on campus, all like these factors that can contribute for the food waste factor generation in universities. It's really important, and as I like do things, I think about like when I was a teenager, like I used to think a lot about food waste. I was like to mom, don't put like this lettuce is still good, like just cut the part that's not good and eat the half, like. So I always had this inside me, but I never realized that this was something really important. And I think it's like in my essence, like that I try to to do things good for the environment. Since I was a kid, I always think about like just animals and plants and all these things. So I think it's a connection with food waste from like my background. Dairy, for example, anything like yogurt or cheese, milk. To produce a food, you need to put a lot of resource, like environmental resource. So for the dairy and for the cheese, you need to feed an animal, and then the animal also, for example, you're gonna eat the grass, you need to take care of the animal, and then to produce, and then you have the production side. You need to put a lot of water, you need to put a lot of resource, energy to make the products. So you end up like wasting a lot of like resource if you end up like wasting dairy products. So this one of the things that's like, it's really painful. Like if you waste 1 liter of milk, means like 100,000 liters of water wasted. I don't know exactly this number, but it's a huge number of like liters of water wasted. And again, I'm just talking about like the water, but you have like other resource that you waste in like energy. That's one of the things that is not efficient nowadays, and still if you waste a lot of energy, it's not like you are creating like a bad cycle of the energy, because then you're not being like, because already the production of the energy is not efficient, and then if you waste the energy, you're being like way less efficient with the use of the energy. It's very difficult because planning is like, I think is one of the main things that is important, because the food hierarchy from EPA, the first thing that you should do is a reduction. So you should reduce the generation of food waste. So in this case, more like it really depends on like individual. For example, I, instead of like leaving my bread outside the fridge, I put it inside the fridge, because it can last like weeks, even though like the best date, past the best date, like it's still be good to be eat, because inside the fridge and like no other like bacteria or fungus will be being created like in the bread, for example. So maybe like understanding like how you can organize like your fruit, your vegetables, like what you can put in the fridge, what you can put outside, because I know that a lot of people still like don't know how to separate like the food when you buy, like, oh, I should put this in the fridge, or I should put this like outside or on the counter, or where should I how should I manage my food that I buy. So I think like maybe understanding how you could do it, it would be like better to have like more a long life, you know, of the food on the shelf. I don't know. I think be conscious, and I forgot the phrase, but it's something like if you have like no food waste, you also have like a free conscience. So just don't waste food. Try to be conscious about like what you're eating. If you don't know if the food is good, ask for a sample. You can simply ask for a sample if you're going to a restaurant or something like that. Just ask for a sample before, you know, getting a whole plate of a new food that you never ate. And yes, that's it.
Important lessons were learned today. The dairy farms in our area are all incredibly relevant to all of us. They give thousands of people jobs, and they supply so many items we use on the daily. The next time you decide to spill a glass of milk, don't cry. But do remember how much work and resources were put into that glass. And stop being a klutz.